But Dad, isn't it time for illegal ham interface? But bro, where's the banjo?
Some sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham Interface, talking all Cleveland sports and of course food on our semi-famous Fat Boy Thursday. Here are your hosts Fatty and Big Bry.
What is going on, everybody? I am that fat guy, Jared Fatty Bates. He is Big Bry. What is going on, big fella?
Hey, man. How you doing?
Another day. It was a beautiful day. Sun was shining today, so you can't go wrong with that, right?
Oh, you got some sunshine where you're at. I didn't get much of that.
No?
Not much.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of been a gloomy. It hadn't been terrible or nothing. It looked like it was going to be halfway decent this morning, but quickly turned to cloud cover. So I won't complain though.
Always does.
It's out of the 30s and not snowing.
That is true. That is a bonus for where we're at the end of March. Getting ready to go into April. For everybody watching the show tonight, we are recording this on Wednesday. So I will see your comments on Thursday. I'll try to hop in Thursday, see you guys' comments as we go. Brian's going to be in Erie on Thursday. So we're doing a little pre-recording tonight. Tonight we are going to jump into the Browns offense as it is right now. Give us some grades, check it out, break it down, see some needs in the draft for the offense as we go forward. We are also going to hop a little bit of guards. They play tomorrow. We are also going to talk Easter, all Easter for Fat Boy Thursday and our top three. Other than that, though, Bri, our show is brought to you by hkeehl and Lake Erie APA. It's also brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland, and we are on Network 216. So please go like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell your family, come in, have some ham with us, and we're going to do like we always do with some shout outs at the beginning, Bri. So you got any shout outs this week, brother?
Yeah, I forgot. This is a shout out going back maybe a couple weeks now, and I don't think I mentioned it. I meant to, but got to see our boy Jeff, the Preacher Man. Got to hang out with
Preacher
him.
Man?
Yeah, he was back. He's been living in Virginia for the last, I don't know, 6-7 years. So he comes back a couple times a year to see his family, and it's been a few years since I've seen him. But he was asking about you. He was asking about the course and everything, and certainly he loved his time there. So it was just fun to catch up with him. He's got 2 kids now, 1 5, 1 2. So we went to the Foundry and had a good time at the Foundry. So a lot to do. Kind of overload for the kids, you know, with all their senses going crazy and all the lights and the games and everything. So they were taking it all in, but we had a good time.
Oh, that's awesome. I miss Preacher Man.
Yeah, yep, he's doing well.
Some wild stories we have with Preacher Man.
Before he was ordained.
Yes, before he was ordained. We do have to, do that. We cannot say the things that we know now.
Statute of limitations is over. Yep.
And if anybody doesn't know what the Foundry is, it's the Foundry Social down in Medina. We do have on our YouTube, on our live feeds, we had live there, and a great, nice little patio area off the beaten path. The food was phenomenal. They brew their own beer. So if you want to go check out Foundry Social, go check out our live on that on our YouTube channel at Ham Illegal, and you'll have it all right there. What a great place that was, Brian.
Old time video games. What was I playing? They had track and field. They have high voltage go-kart. I only did that one time. That was a few years back, but duck pin bowling. It's just a gigantic place. So and it's always crazy. We went at like 4:00 on a Saturday because we knew if we waited much longer, we wouldn't be able to get in. And I think there was one table available. So it's just a madhouse sometimes, but fun for the whole family. Got something for everybody to do there. Cornhole, the shuffleboard and everything. So yeah, it's a good time.
That's awesome. I know you got one more shout out.
Boy, oh yeah, this past weekend, yeah, saw you. Thank you for coming down. I know that was a a commitment for you coming back from Columbus. But yeah, a lot of good people came out. My wife had her baby shower on Sunday, so kind of correspond with that. We did the diaper party up here in Medina at B-Dubs. Watching college basketball, that was honestly, that was how we settled on when the shower was going to be. She's like, well, you know, you can have a diaper party. I'm like, yeah, sure. That sounds like a good time, but I want to do it around a sporting event. So it was either March Madness on Sunday or the Sunday of the Masters were the 2 Sundays that we were picking through. So, but yeah, it was a good time. Good game. Marquette beat Colorado by a couple. I think by 4. So
yeah,
entertaining time. Yeah, we had a good time.
And congrats to Ed. And who won the second pool?
Hammer, my buddy, Dick's buddy, who came from Toledo. But yep, it was a good time. Yeah, we did the squares. And I wasn't thinking when I first made them that there's a half and an end of the game. So there's, unlike football, there's not going to be 4 winners. There was only 2 winners. But yeah, that means you win a little bit more money if you do win.
You know, I think we're going to have to go back to that B-Dubs there in Medina. That party room they had back there in the corner, Bri, that thing was nice. Just nice.
I'm telling you.
You're over by yourself, TVs everywhere. I know that you tried to take some plants home. I did see that happen. They magically ended up in one of the bags.
He was. I told the waitress that's the highlight of his day. He was just cracking up. He was cracking himself up. He was. Yeah, it was funny to me too, but man, he was the most amused out of anybody.
Yeah, you walked out, dude. You got a good haul out of that. You had
crazy
6 guys bringing diapers out to your car. I mean, that's a good haul for diapers, and the great thing is they were all mixed. You had a lot of dads in there that knew that newborns don't last that long, and you got some older.
Didn't get any. No newborns. Yeah,
I'm telling you, bud, they go through it like that. It's like 3 weeks and they're out of newborns, and then you're into 1s, 2s. Like we were 1s, 2s, and then we stayed in 3s for a while. And then when the boys started growing again, so we were in 3s for about a few months, and then we bounced up to 4s and stuff like that. So that's why I kind of got you 2s to kind of help you out through the mad rush. So
yep, I'd say the majority of what we got were 1s and 2s. Maybe 1 or 2 boxes of 2s or 3s, a couple of 4s, and maybe 1 of 5s. So
hey,
kind of a smattering of everything.
That will definitely work out. And the great thing is, some places, if you find out, you can kind of trade them back in. And
we've already done that. We've already done that. Yeah, we did that on Monday. We both took off work on Monday, so we were running around exchanging stuff like madmen. And
that's awesome, bud. All right, is that it for your shout outs?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the only thing I got to shout out from Thursday is my lovely family in Columbus for allowing me to do the show in the Span Garage. Thank you, Chris, for joining us. Brian, we went out as my Grammy watched the 4 kids, and the 4 adults, me, my sister, and the spouses all went out for definitely a good time. Right. Let's just say a 2-day hangover, like I told you on Sunday. We laced one on.
It's no fun.
But what was really funny, though, is my sister realized you cannot keep Girl Scout cookies in a house with me in it. About 3 o'clock, I woke up on Saturday morning after Friday night, and I found the tag-alongs and got into them, and she opened up. She goes, "What happened to the box?" Brian, it was like a grizzly bear tearing apart a salmon. I couldn't get the flap to open right. And plus, she already had the inebriated part in it. So I just kind of tore the box open. And it was eventful. Let's just put it that way.
I was going to compare you to like a drug sniffing dog. Like as soon as you walk in, there's Girl Scout cookies in this house. And then you just follow your nose to freedom. Follow your nose to the prize and have a good time.
Brian, it was pretty much that way because I went straight to the pantry to see what she had because that's where she keeps the liquor also. And I opened up and I saw the Girl Scout cookies. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to hit those later. And then I'll just shut the door, act like I didn't see those, and just get a hold of those later. But no, we had a great time down there, but we did some landscaping in my mom's house, helped her out with her new house. We got together, all the kids were playing. We had a great time. We had a movie night on Saturday night. It's always a great time down in Columbus with my family when I get to see it. Plus, my dad and my aunt came over on Saturday. We did lasagna, played some cards. So
Nice.
it was a nice getaway at the end of the vacation. And then, of course, I come up, have a Bloody Mary with you, and eat some chicken wings at B-Dubs. It was a great time. A lot of people turned out, but like cousins, family, I loved it.
Yeah, it was a blast. I wish I could have stayed long. I told my wife, I was like, man, I wish we could just do this like all day long, because I felt, being everyone was kind of there for me to support me, and I felt like I had to entertain everybody and spend a little bit of time with everybody. But I was like, man, there's Pat and there's Jared and there's Eric and there's Buzzy, and talking about the good old days, and I want to be a part of that conversation. Then I got all these friends from high school and college. I want to be a part of that conversation. Then I got all these family members. I want to be a part of that. Like, I want to be everywhere. So it was tough, but it was a blast, and I hope everyone else had a great time too.
Oh, we had a blast. And the good thing is like everybody meshes well. Like, we all know each other. It's not like we all don't know each other. So it was nice, especially sitting down, meeting Adam's dad for the first time was really nice. I haven't met Adam's dad before. And seeing your cousin, finally seeing your cousin Dave, who I've never met before, but I've heard so much about. So just sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I can see how you guys get a little crazy at family stuff.
And the little onesie that I got, the American flag onesie to go with my big American flag onesie. So yeah, we'll be two peas in a pod there.
God, I hope she fits in that.
Oh yeah, oh, she'll fit. Trust me, she'll fit. I'll make her fit.
I was going to say that head. We know about the loveless head.
That's the trouble. Getting the head through the little head hole there.
Might
we'll figure out a way.
We'll
cut
around.
it. Yeah, if we have to, what you do is you cut the front here, just so you can get your head through. Yeah, it's an old trick. We'll figure it out.
All right. Well, you want to get into trivia, buddy? Because I think it's your turn for trivia, right?
I got trivia.
All right, let's do the sounder, and then we will bring up. We're going to do the tiny dogs again, Brian, because they definitely need adopted. I did not contact Beth yet because it's been a whirlwind. So let's do the trivia sounder. Is brought to you by City Dogs of Cleveland, and we are going to bring up the tiny tykes again. Let me find our little scrolly down here at the bottom, how you can get a hold of City Dogs by email, by phone, and how you can meet a City Dogs. And here are the tiny tykes. And man, look at all these. These are all dogs under 40 pounds at the City Dogs Cleveland. Please go adopt, donate, do whatever you can to help them out. Bri, I think I got to wait till the schedule release, but I think I might have found a place for our City Dogs watch party. So stay tuned for that. I've been working really hard behind the scenes on that one, bud.
Sweet. Can't wait.
And I sneezed on that one. Oh my Lord, it came out of me. I got another one coming. Ew, there
God
it is.
bless
Let's go. There it is. Woo! All right. There's all of our little tiny tykes. Oh, look at that little one right there. Let's bring up Goober. Where's Goober? There's Goober. How can you say no to Goober? Still remember that one. They're all beautiful dogs, Brian. Man.
Yeah.
And they definitely need help. They need love. I do know that they got some more puppies in. Somebody abandoned some puppies. So that's not good. So please help them out. They definitely need some help. And like I said, scrolling down here at the bottom, get a hold of them by phone, by email, even message us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. I get all the messages. I'll hook you up with City Dogs, hook you up with Beth, how to get a hold, how to get set up an appointment to go meet a dog, or how to donate and help them out. So please help them out. All right, Bryce, time for trivia. I hit you with a good Matthew Dellavedova trivia last week.
Dellavedova. Sure did. I love Deli. anytime you can relive the championship. And I was about to wear my Cavs championship hat today, but it's a little snug. So, but yeah, love it. 2016. Any sort of trivia, knowledge, anything that goes along with that, I'm all about. But today we have, well, since it's that time of year, we got a March Madness trivia. So we're going to college basketball, men's college basketball. And rather, well, this one, it requires some sports knowledge, and it also requires a little geography knowledge, if you're any good at that. And so, fascinating, over the last 25 years, so 1998 to 2023, no team, well, only a couple teams west of the Mississippi River have won the college basketball national title. So there's two. Give me the two teams. One team may have won it a couple times. I'm not positive on that, but there's only two schools in the last 25 years that are west of the Mississippi that have won the national championship.
Okay, I think I got this one.
Okay, good.
I think I do.
Yeah, now I have a couple clues I can give you, but I'll wait till the end of the show if you're looking for it.
All right, we'll wait till the end of the show, but I think I got it.
Okay.
Man, that's been a while, bud.
It's crazy, right? But you think of all the powerhouses, Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, UConn, like all in the East.
Wow. Okay.
Syracuse.
All right. That's a good one. I can't wait till next week because I got a gem for you too. Bri, just be prepared. It's a baseball gem.
Oh, I don't stand a chance.
No,
unless it's 90s Indians, 90s, early 2000s Indians. That's my sweet spot when it comes to baseball.
It's more of a guess where they're at.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right, so stay tuned next week for the Guardians trivia by me, and then I got to answer Bryce trivia. Two teams last 25 years west of the Mason-Dixon line to win the
Mississippi
NCAA Men's National Championship. It's the same thing, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know what the hell
Mason-Dixon like north and south.
I don't believe so. I think it's east and west.
That's what I thought. Isn't that what the Mississippi is?
Mississippi's north and south. Uh-oh.
I know that.
Oh boy, this is not boding well. Yeah, Mason-Dixon's I think is east and west.
Now we got to do this. And by the way, my son, I'll you with a question for next week.
Yeah, get your what are your kids in 6th grade? Get them up here. Have them. I'm sure they could. Although I pride myself in knowing my geography.
Never mind.
But,
all right. So Mason-Dixon line is north and south. So I screwed that one up.
Oh, it is north and south.
Yeah, so we're on the north side of it. So it goes from Pennsylvania.
No. If we're on the north side of it, then it runs east and west.
It goes underneath of us.
But it goes east and west. Do you know where east is, and do you know where west is?
Yeah, the east. Yeah, Mason.
So does it run this way or does it run this way?
It runs east to west. So we're on the north side of it.
Right. Okay.
But it runs through. It's pretty much the Ohio River. So it comes down underneath Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and then pops up underneath Iowa. So everything above that is north of Mason-Dixon, south. So yes, Mississippi, west of the Mississippi. God, Bri, you're a genius.
I won't go that far, but I know the biggest river in America.
Way to go, Gump. All right, let's play our little weekly sounder for so Chris can dance a little bit. Cleveland headlines. All right, your Cleveland headlines. First off, Brian, we have some breaking news. I guess the internet has been blowing up because the Haslams have talked about a new stadium or the old stadium. and it's going to be $1 billion to renovate the one down on the lake. It's going to be $2 billion to do the one in Brook Park. And they said all options are open. Cuyahoga County came out and said that would be nice. They would like to keep it downtown, but if they cannot, it is what it is. And everybody is doing, well, do you want a dome or do you want it open? And my feeling is right now, Bri, is what we got right now in the lake is a pig, and you can put lipstick on a pig all you want to, but it's still going to be a pig. I love that we did it. It was rushed. Any renovations that are going to be done to that place is just going to be renovations. It's not going to make it any better. It's going to be outdated soon anyways. My whole thing is right now, Bri, tear it down, build another one. And if we got to build one in Brook Park, build it, put a dome on it so that we can host fun things like, I don't know, maybe a WrestleMania, maybe a Final Four. You throw concerts, any concert you want, we can actually do. You could move the monster trucks down there now instead of up at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. There's so many other uses you could use that place for instead of the 8 games we get downtown, plus the preseason,
right?
And maybe 2 or 3 concerts during the summer. That's it.
Soccer game here and there, maybe Michigan, Ohio State hockey, right?
Yeah, the frozen hockey
high school
game.
football.
Yeah, I'm kind of to the point now, Bri, and I saw some like schematics of it and everything. I know that they really like the Minnesota stadium when they went and saw Minnesota's new digs. So I know that's what they're kind of going for. But at this point in time, Bri, you might as well make a new one, make it the way you want, instead of trying to put lipstick on a pig and trying to piece and paste it together. What about you?
Yeah, it sounds so. From what I could gather and what everyone's been saying over the last couple of days is you basically have 2 options, and that is renovate the current stadium in Cleveland or build a dome right next to the airport. And it's not like you can't have a dome in downtown Cleveland or build a brand new stadium in downtown Cleveland. If you're staying in Cleveland, you're renovating what's there, and it might cost about half the amount of money. But to me, being a diehard Browns fan, I don't really care if my taxes go up and I end up owing $1,000 a year or whatever. It's just I try not to get too excited about it because everyone's saying, well, it looks like they're leaning towards just building a dome in Brook Park and going forward with that, and everyone is saying that. So I feel like they're setting us up to be let down, and they'll just say, oh no, we'll just throw a bunch of money into this old stadium that we haven't had a whole lot of success in and renovate the suites that 5% of the fans stay in, or renovate the club level seats, which not many fans go to, or back. And like, I feel I'm waiting to be let down, because to me, the more I think about it, the more sense it makes just to have a dome and have it right next to the airport and have parking all around it. And because as somebody who used to tailgate, and we don't go there as much anymore, but we go to like the Burke Lakefront Airport, and I only go a few times a year. But we used to tailgate at the second half of the Muni lot. So the Muni lot, you walk to the toll booth there, and then after the toll booth, I consider like the second half. So to me, we would have to leave our tailgate at like noon to get to our seats on time, and so that's an hour walk. And you wait in line to get into the stadium and whatnot. So like, it's crazy to me that the person at the back of the Muni lot would have the same walk right now, essentially, if we go to Brook Park, as somebody from Tokyo, Japan. They make a flight to Cleveland, they walk from the airport to the stadium. That walk from the airport to the stadium is the same walk as it would be from the back of the Muni lot. And it's just, and you can't, unless you're like making a specific trip to go to Brown Stadium, nobody really sees Brown Stadium unless, maybe you're on the highway. You can't get too close to it off of 90. And then going Route 2 to the east side. Like, not many people are if it's right off of 71 there, close to the airport, you're going to be able to see it. Millions of people are going to drive past it every day. And so, but I mean, just thinking about the accessibility and the amount of times you can use it every single year, I think it's a no-brainer. The Haslam's have enough money. I don't know why they wouldn't just say we're done with it. I don't know why they keep dragging it out. Maybe they think they're going to get a sweetheart deal from the city of Cleveland, and they're going to say, please, please, please don't go. But like I said when we first had this conversation, unless you have a business downtown, unless you live like within 10 minutes of the city, I think everybody else, which is 80, maybe 90% of Browns fans, would benefit having a new stadium in Brook Park. Easier to get in and out, hopefully parking much closer to the stadium. And for all the people who say I would prefer outdoor football to indoor football, I say you don't have a leg to stand on. You don't have any credibility with me, because unless you were one of those 5,000 people who were there when the Browns played the Saints a couple years ago when it was negative 15-degree weather, you're just a liar, because you couldn't. They were giving tickets away. Anybody who wanted to go to that game could have for pennies, and 5,000 people chose to go to that game. So if you're one of those 5,000 and you tell me you want outdoor stadium, outdoor football, okay, I believe you, because you've gone to the worst of it. Anybody else? No. That game, that exact same game, if it were in a dome, you probably would have sold out. And so you're making more money with a dome. I know it's going to cost more, but yeah, I don't buy it, because unless you're there 16 times a year or 8 times a year, or you're going to every single December game, you're just BSing me. I don't believe it. I don't believe you, because you can say you want to watch outdoor football, but unless you're there, yeah, it falls on deaf ears for me. So move it to a dome. Let's get it over with. People, as with any decision you make as a Browns fan, as a Browns owner, people are going to complain about it. So you just get it over with. We all prefer a dome in Brook Park. The vast majority of people do. So let's just finally do right by our fans.
I mean, Brian, let's just be honest about the schematics of everything. All right. First off, in 1999, when they built this stadium to bring back the Browns, they rushed it. It wasn't completely finished. It wasn't up to date like any other stadium. Like, you take your time and build a really good stadium. They rushed the build just to get the Browns back in Cleveland. Okay. So starting out the gate, you already had bad bones when you were doing it. Second of all, when you go to that stadium downtown, Brian, there is one way in and one way out. That is it. There's no other way. Like, you're leaving from the lake going south. Like, there is no other way that you could go to get out of there. And with what's going on in Brook Park, there's going to be the Red Line. There's going to be buses. There's going to be the Amtrak over by the airport. There's going to be 480. There's going to be 71. There's going to be 237. You have multiple ways to get in and out of that stadium to where it is not a freaking log jam and a pain in the ass to go to a game anymore. Like, yeah, you might have to wait for a little bit getting out of the parking lot to go where you're wanting to go. But, Bri, all major highways are right there. Even if you take a little short drive down Snow Road right there, you can pop over to 77. Like, you can take back roads anywhere from there and get out of there and sneak out. So it just seems like it'd just be so much easier to do this in Brook Park where they're wanting to. And it's closer to their facility in Berea, closer to the airport, closer to the trains, closer to the buses than where it is at now in Cleveland.
That's why I don't trust them. It makes way too much sense. I don't trust them to. I don't know. I'm sure eventually the city's going to try hard to keep them in downtown, but yeah, the nostalgia and everything. We've seen nothing but losers in that stadium. They've renovated it before, gave us a brand new scoreboard in the shape of Tennessee, and they've added seats here and added seats there, and they still call it the Dog Pound. And I don't think it's a terrible stadium, but if you tell me I can upgrade and I can get a state of the art stadium, and hopefully that lasts 40, 50 years, and by the way, selfishly for me, it's closer to Medina and it's closer to you where you're at, and it's closer for many people.
I'm like a fart in the wind away from this new stadium.
Right. If you just follow the planes, you'll never get lost. Just follow the planes and you'll find where the Brown Stadium. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. It makes too much sense. And that's why I really struggle to think that they're going to make the right decision. And I'll hold my breath until I hear it official about 5 different times, and then I'll maybe start to celebrate.
Like I even thought about putting out like a poll on our show page and everything else, Brian. And I sat there and looked at it, and I went through and I scrolled through Twitter and I scrolled through Facebook, and the amount of polls that people put out, and it was either, do you want a dome or do you want it open? Do you want to go to Brook Park? Do you want to be in Cleveland? And I'm just sitting there watching them. I'm like, let's just be honest. Like, if you're really honest with yourself, the best decision for the Cleveland Browns is to move to Brook Park. That should be the best decision. I'm not saying that's going to be the great decision. I'm not saying that's going to be the final decision, but that is the best decision for the Cleveland Browns and the city of Cleveland. And no matter what people say, yes, the stadium is not in Cleveland. Anybody that I go to, that I talk to now, Bri, they go, oh yeah, I'm from Cleveland. Oh, we're at Cleveland. And it's Euclid. Oh, I'm from Euclid. I'm from North Olmsted. Everybody around Cleveland is from Cleveland. It's not the little cities. Like, even from like, where are you from? Oh yeah, I'm from Cleveland. That's how you explain it. You don't go, I'm from Parma. I'm from Strongsville. I'm from Brunswick. No, I'm from Cleveland. Anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're in Cleveland, you got to be more specific of, oh yeah, I live in North Olmsted, or I live in Medina. But like anywhere, like down in Columbus, everyone's like, oh, where are you from? I'm like, oh, Cleveland. Oh, we're at in Cleveland, North Olmsted. Like, it's a different thing now. It's not like it was before, where downtown and it just, everybody lived in Cleveland and it was supposed to be Cleveland and the 86 and, all that with the municipal stadium. It's not that anymore, Bri. Times have changed and we have to change with it.
So the one thing that does give me pause, and somebody brought it up today, and it's a good point that I think maybe Josh Cribbs or something, we'll get into the new kickoff rule eventually, but with the dome comes artificial grass, and there's more injuries on artificial grass than there is regular grass. So, that might be something that we have to sacrifice. I don't think we're going to be one of these, like some domes do have real grass turf, but you're talking about like Arizona and like warm weather climates to where they can roll it out and then roll it back in. So I think we'd probably be looking at some sort of artificial turf, and does that mean more injuries? Possibly. But so many, I think they're improving that every year and making it safer and safer. And so it's just a matter of time, but there's so many stadiums in the NFL that have artificial turf. So if it's not in Cleveland, you might get hurt going down to Houston or going to Indianapolis or something, to where you might get a bad injury or something like that. But it makes too much sense. Like I said, it boggles my mind that a place like Buffalo is going to build another outdoor stadium because they have to change their games up because the weather is so bad, and they have to move it to different cities. And they have to get thousands and thousands of people every single year to shovel snow. And it's like, what are you doing? Why are you?
You should know better. You should know better.
It's just a terrible in today's day and age. And I think eventually, hopefully in our lifetime, eventually everyone's going to have a dome stadium. So, why not just get on board now? And, you look at the Super Bowl, there's a reason they don't play the Super Bowl in Cleveland, in Kansas City, in Pittsburgh, these outdoor facilities, because you want to see the best football. You have the two best football teams. You want to see the best football being played. You don't want to see, game like Miami, Kansas City this past playoffs where it's -25 and, fans are losing fingers because they're getting frostbite. I mean, I think the days of that are over.
Yeah, I agree, and especially with God, we are going to have a long show today. Are you okay with that?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Whenever you want to move on, I've said my piece, and I'm sure we'll get into it. We're still maybe a year away from actually finding anything out, but it's just going to be a lot of little reports like this. So hopefully it continues going in that direction.
All right, well, let's move on. Okay, first off, let's do the Guardians. Guardians play baseball on Thursday. We're recording on Wednesday. Want to remind everybody, this is Wednesday night that we're recording, not live. It's a recorded show, so I'll try to be in the comments. But the Guardians start on Thursday, Brian. Some surprising names that made and did not make the list. Cookie Carrasco made the starting rotation as the 5th starter, which was awesome. I'm so happy for him. And Miles Straw, no more. Gone. And the Guardians are going to eat that cash right now. Miles Straw, great defender in center field. Cannot hit worth anything. I'm pretty sure he was probably the worst MLB batter the past few years. Just not good at all. And the one thing I am kind of upset about is I think everybody has nicknamed him DeLauncher, our new number 1 prospect that is just crushing the ball in spring training and still didn't make the team, but he is a rookie. Kind of figured that wasn't going to happen. So he's going to do some time down in AAA and everything else. But Brian, how excited are you? Have baseball back starting Thursday. Now we don't get a here in Cleveland until what, the 8th? Like we got 2 weeks or something before we get baseball back in here?
Well, yeah, it's Eclipse Day is the opener, the home opener, at 5 o'clock. But right. Yeah, so they always do it seems like the Indians, Guardians always open on the West Coast, and it's really difficult to get super excited. And me personally, I'm just speaking on my behalf. I feel like my fandom has really gone down the last few years, and I think a lot of it has to do with I don't get Bally Sports. I can't watch these games like I used to, even put it on as background noise and keep an eye on it. Especially when it's at 10 o'clock. There's no chance, even if I could get it, I'd be watching it at 10 o'clock. But yeah, it's just in the state of the team, are they going to go for it? Are they going to try to win? Or is this the start of the rebuild with our brand new manager? I don't know. I think they're still kind of figuring it out, and they kind of, even last year, they're kind of in limbo. Are we going for it? Are we not going for it? And then come the trade deadline, even though we were still in the hunt, it's like, well, let's sell off these pieces, because even if by God's grace we make it into the playoffs, we're not going anywhere. So they kind of understood that. So I don't know what they're getting. To me, this season is about figuring out what direction you want this team to go in. And if you want to buckle up and strap in because we're in a couple 2-3 year rebuild, then let's commit to it. We still have Bieber on the roster. What does he have? 1 year left? Is this his last year?
I think so.
Okay, so
I think maybe they have a club option. I'm not 100% sure. I got to look into it more, Brian, but I think they maybe have a club option if they want to. But I think this might be his last year.
So yeah, figuring out what you want to do. I think a lot of it has to do with what do you do with Bieber, and that'll tell us what they're thinking. And this is part of the reason baseball is an imperfect sport. As much as the Indians, Guardians love Bieber, they just can't keep him. They don't have the money. And so like I've said for years now, it's an unlevel playing field. And the Indians, Guardians, I keep screwing the Guardians. I'll get there.
I know it's hard.
It's at the start of the year. We're starting to talk more baseball. And so, in a couple weeks, I'll get Guardians down a little bit more. It's just, figuring out where you want to go, where you want this team to go. And part of me thinks that, they feel like the front office feels like maybe they owe something to Jose Ramirez, because he said, I'm sticking with Cleveland. I'll give you a hometown discount. I want to be here. And they feel like, they owe something to him, and to go for it or to try and, not just go complete rebuild. Almost like the Browns felt with Joe Thomas, like, here's one of our all-time greats. We want to do right by him, but there might even come a time to where they go to him and they're like, hey man, we'll send you wherever you want to go, because we want to see you win. So it's another feeling out season. They're pitching, they're starting pitching. You don't really ever worry about that. They're always seems like they always overachieve for what we're expecting. It's just the bats. And you have a bunch of young kids who have to learn how to hit in the major leagues. So it might be an ugly season. We might have a lot of 3-2, 2-0 games, or it's just excruciating to watch. But I hope I'm wrong. What do you think?
I mean, I think they're going to be okay. I think they're going to be mediocre. Everybody's picking them to finish second in the AO. And that's like, finishing second in beauty pageant. Like, I don't know. It's like the Central is just horrible. They got the Twins.
Yeah.
Everybody's predicting the Twins to win, Guardians, and then you got the White Sox that just sold off everybody, the Royals or whatever the Royals are. And then the Tigers are still trying to figure out how they're going to rebuild too. So it's going to be weird, but the one thing I do like about it right now so far, Bri, is they're making the changes that they needed to make, and I thought they needed to make last year. Yes, Miles Straw can play some defense, but he can't hit. He needs somebody in there with a bat. I'd rather somebody that could hit and maybe make a mistake, a little bit out in the outfield, but I need somebody that can hit the ball. And there was no way he was hitting the ball. So that being changed and a fresh set of eyes on this group, like, especially having a veteran like Cookie come in as the fifth starter. I mean, he might end up in the bullpen as a long reliever. He might be somewhere else, but for right now, for him coming in as the fifth man in the rotation to help out this young rotation, I think that's probably one of the best moves they made in the offseason, Bri. Now, he's not the Cookie from long ago where he can give you a couple shutout games and things of that nature. He's not going to do that. But what he can guide these young kids with is position, how to pitch, how to stay away from people. Just his knowledge is going to help out these kids. And even with Shane Bieber, too, because Shane Bieber got it from Corey Kluber. So, like, it's just a lineage running downhill, Bri. I mean, we've done it with, it was CeCe, then it was Cliff Lee, and then it was Masterson for a couple years, and then it ended up being Kluber, then it ended up being Shane Bieber. Now it's running down, even further with, Gavin, Tristan McKenzie. Who's the guy, big guy? I can't think of his name. Is it Gavin Williams?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Like, just running downhill, and they always do that with pitchers. But I need to see what they can do with the bats, like you said. I mean, Brian, what do you predict this season? Like, let's just do it like a real quick predict. Like, how many wins do you think they're going to get?
I'm going to try to be optimistic, and unfortunately, my optimistic view is only 500. So, give me 81 wins for
81
for the Guardians. Yeah, which is an improvement on last year. But I think this season's baseball is such a long year. I think there are going to be so many twists and turns, such a roller coaster ride to where, we're talking about them like last year we did the first couple months. One of the worst teams in the league. Other weeks are going to be, hey, can we compete with the best of the best in the American League? And just back and forth there. But yeah, that's why I think, like, hey, make up your mind. Like, the Browns have made up their mind. They're going for it. This purgatory kind of sucks, to where either as we've seen in recent history, tanking it out pays off, and pays off in championships for some of these teams. The Atlanta Braves were one of the worst, seems like not that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and now they're one of the best. It's because they traded off everything that they had. They started from the bottom, and they just built a team that was ready to win in 2 or 3 years. And that's why, unfortunately, I think the Guardians need to do. They just bite the bullet. I know, as bad as attendance has been over the last few years, it's probably going to get worse if we decide to start tanking it out. But this is the state of baseball. For mid-market, small market teams, that's what you have to do. And until the commissioner changes something, which he won't, because he doesn't have a backbone, and he's not going to put limitations on these players' salaries. This is how baseball is. It's like rooting for Illinois in the Big Ten in football. You're probably never going to compete with the Michigans and the Ohio States more than maybe once or twice a decade.
Tell me you can hear Princess.
Oh yeah, sure. She must like the take. Appreciate you.
Get it, girl.
Betty.
Get it, girl.
What do you think? How many wins?
If everybody can stay healthy, that's the thing, is health for this team. Because if they lose a Jose, if they lose Shane Bieber, if they lose a Naylor or either Naylor, if they lose a key piece to this team, it's not going to be pretty. But if everybody's healthy, Bri, damn, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say 87 wins. I think because everybody else is picking around 83 wins. I'm going to go 87 if everybody's healthy. But man, if one of these, if Jose gets hurt or Bieber gets hurt or somebody of that nature gets hurt, buckle up, Buttercup, because it might be a bumpy ride.
So, assuming they're healthy, what's the lowest? What's their floor? What do you think? How many wins? If they're healthy, how many wins will they get? At least.
If they're healthy, I'm kind of the lowest they could be is right around 500 for me. I think they can play 500. I think they can play 500 baseball, Bri. I really do think they can play 500 baseball. Because you have, hold on. Now hear me out. The reason why I say that is you have a year underneath Bo Naylor's belt now as catcher. Okay. Josh Naylor was one of the best hitters last year before he got hurt. Jose is Jose. Stephen Kwan is going to get on base and disrupt everything. And then you have Rochoa, I think how you pronounce his name, the new shortstop now. And then you have a little bit of power out in right field with the couple guys that they got in the offseason. So it's not going to be anything major, Brian, but at least if you can get guys on base, you have the pretty much the 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters pretty much set if you want to. You have Quan at 2, Jose at 3, Naylor at 4, and then the other Naylor at 5. Or if you want to spread them out and move them differently. But I think with those 5 guys, you can get some runs scored. I really do think you can get some runs scored with those guys.
I like your optimism. So your pessimistic view is my optimistic view. I just look at I don't even know. Maybe if you can look it up real quick, how many wins they had last year, but I don't believe it was 80, and that was with Terry Francona as your manager. So you're losing something as your manager. I think it's inevitable that you're going to trade Shane Bieber. And I know he wasn't completely healthy last year, so he didn't give you a ton. So I think brace yourself. We could be looking, and I do, because it is the Guardians and because it is this front office and because we've never seen them really bottom out, I give them that credit. But I think if we're somewhere between 65 and 70 wins, I won't be shocked. And it's probably hard for a lot of people to hear, but yeah, if they finish 70, 72 wins, something like that, they weren't much better than that last year, and they lost a Hall of Fame manager. So yeah.
Hold on. Now they had 76 wins last year, Bri. But they lost Shane Bieber for most of the season. They lost,
which they might not have him for half the season this year.
but they lost Tristan McKenzie also for a very long time. They
Sure.
lost Josh Naylor pretty much for the entire second half of the season after he got hot. They just brought up Bo Naylor and got rid of the catchers. Jose was dinged up all season. You had Miles Straw, who can't hit the ball at all, now gone. And Stephen Kwan was kind of trying to hold everything together. So if you add in the injuries they had last year, plus the shuffling of what they had to do with the starting rotation, because it wasn't even just those guys. I mean, Brian, we had, wasn't it Savali that we traded away? And we had pitching there that we had to trade away. So if you look at that, for them to finish 76 with all that happened, and especially the tear that Josh Naylor was on, Josh Naylor was probably one of the best batters in the MLB for 2 months before he got hurt.
Yeah.
So 76 wins. I mean, that's.
Yeah, and maybe it goes to, like I said before, my confidence in the pitching staff still very high. As far as putting up a ton of runs, you talk about Josh Naylor like he's an all-star. He's not. I know he's a hometown favorite, and he's had some big hits and some clutch moments. But for me, it just hasn't been enough because he's also had 0 for 4 with 3 strikeout days a lot. And so I like him. Well, no, I know, and that's the state of baseball now. But yeah, I mean, to think that Josh Naylor is going to be a huge difference maker for you now all of a sudden and be an all-star player, I don't buy into that. I'll be happily surprised if he is. But to me, he's like an average cleanup hitter. If you're a cleanup hitter, the assumption is you're pretty good. So I don't want to take anything away from him, and he's the best we have. But I'm not going to be expecting 120 RBIs and 35 home runs from Josh Naylor this year.
Oh God, we're going to make a side bet later.
Sure. If you like those numbers, text me your price. Sure.
We'll figure it out. We'll make a side bet next week. We'll figure it out. All right, Brian, let's get into, something, Brian. We will get the NFL new rule changes next week. We'll do that when we do the defense because it's got a lot to do with the defense anyways, defense and special teams. Let's get into the Browns offense right now because we are going to do the offensive breakdown for the Cleveland Browns. And right now, Brian, your starting offense looks like this. You have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. At running back right now, Nick Chubb, questionable. So it's going to be probably Jerome Ford and the people behind him because he might come in later. Wide receivers, you got Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore. Left tackle, you got Jed Wills, Joel Bitonio at left guard. Center, Ethan Posich. Wyatt Teller at right guard and right tackle, Jack Conklin. And at tight end, David Njoku, who had a great year last year, Bri. Man, did he show up in the second half of the year last year. And then here are the backups. Let's see here. For quarterback, we all know it's Jameis Winston. It is Tyler Huntley and it is Denard or Torian Robinson. Can you hear that? Denard Robinson. DTR. Dorian Thompson Robinson. I was thinking Michigan already, Brian.
I know. I was waiting for you to say Robinson.
For the running backs, we got Jerome Ford, Devontae Foreman, Nakeem Hines, Pierre Strong, and don't forget about John Kelly. They're on the back end. Wide receivers, we got Cedric Tillman, James Prochet, Michael Woods, Jalen Darden, David Bell as those. Offensive linemen, we got Hakeem, I can't even pronounce his last name, that we just picked up from Cincinnati. James Hudson, Drew Forbes, Michael Dunn, Dawson Deaton, and Luke Whitler, and DeJuan Jones, Leroy Watson, and Justin Murray. So that is the roster as of right now, Bri. Let's go through. Let's quickly grade this. I mean, the starters, we already know what the starters are going to be. It's the backups that we're kind of concerned about. Let's go first, with the quarterbacks. Let's go quarterback first, Bri. How do you grade the quarterback room? And what do you see happening with the quarterback room?
I'm gonna let you. I'll let you go first, and I'll follow you. So give me your synopsis of the quarterback room.
If I'm telling you what, if Deshaun Watson is actually healthy and is playing and is up to Deshaun Watson, the quarterback room could be definitely a B plus to an A. Okay, I'm not going to say A plus like elite of elite because we still have question marks about Deshaun Watson. And Bri, I hate to say that, and I know everybody's going to jump down my throat like I am not a Deshaun fan and I'm a Baker bro and all that stuff. I'm tired of hearing it, Bri. He's been here long enough now. This is your year to prove it. This is your year to prove it. And I need you to prove it. And if you can't do it, I think that's why they got Tyler Huntley and Jameis Winston. I really do think that's why they got those two, because I know Jameis can be Jameis, and Tyler Huntley helped Baltimore get through when Lamar was hurt. So I grade right now at the start of the season, I'm giving our quarterback room a B. I'm giving it a solid B. It's not great, but it's above average. What do you think?
I'm with you. Hit it right on the nose. A B. I have a B too. And it's just funny how different words, different perspectives come into play, but we still are at the same place with the quarterback room. And I'm hopeful. I still have hope. Some people have given up hope. A lot of people have tossed it in rounds, throw the white flag. Deshaun Watson's no good. He's not the answer. But I don't know how you can really think that based on his winning percentage, and B, just based on the winning plays that he made last year. And he's still, now I know the reason it's a B is because of, for me, the reason it's a B is because of his shoulder injury. And I just don't know how he's going to, as much as I want to believe that he's going to look like he looked last year and he's going to continuing to progress. I don't know. And, so that's a little scary, but I think, look, people fell in love with Joe Flacco, and I thank him so much for the fun that he gave me. But is there really a whole lot difference between Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston? People think there's miles between Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston. Let's not forget when Jameis Winston was a everyday starter. What did he do? He threw for a ton of yards and he threw a bunch of picks. What did Joe Flacco do? He threw for a ton of yards and he threw a bunch of picks. And so, Winston's even maybe a little more mobile than Joe Flacco was. So I think people are getting all caught up in their emotions on why Joe Flacco is a ton better than Winston. But I think it's about the same. And then with Huntley, you have, if the whole season goes to crap again and you're on your third and fourth string quarterbacks, you feel much better this year, going to a guy in Huntley who has proven that he can win in this league, and Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who now has one season under his belt. So I feel pretty good in the depth, and I feel relatively good in the starter as well. But yeah, I'm not going to give them. They're not quite an A yet, so I think B, above average.
Okay. I brought up Deshaun's stats the past 2 years for Cleveland. He's only played 6 games. Okay. Each year, about 1,100 yards passing. That's it. 7 touchdowns each year.
Well, okay. Well, I mean, he played technically 5 games last year and 6 games the year before.
Okay. Well, okay. Hold on. So,
because nobody counts the Indies. Even me, I'm not going to say he won the Indy game.
Okay, well, I'm putting down, I'm looking at ESPN right now. Games played. GP.
Yep.
Games played.
Sure.
6-6. So he's played 12 fucking games since he's been here. Okay. 1,100 yards. Hold on. 1,100 yards each one. 14 touchdowns for the past 2. 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, Bri. And his QBR, one was below 80. The other one is 84. Okay. He hasn't had a low, that's just, and I understand he's coming back. I'm not poo-pooing on him, saying that he's going to be horrible. I'm just saying he needs to be better. He just needs to be better.
Oh, yeah. I agree. And that's why he's a B. I want him to be an A. Yeah. B's not good enough to get us where we want to go. I don't disagree that he needs to be. I'm not saying I'm not saying that what we've seen from Deshaun Watson just copy and paste it to this year and I'll be happy, because I won't. But I feel like, I've backed into a corner, like I'm the only one who has to defend his play on the field, because everyone has already made up their mind that he's terrible. He's Trey Wingo the other day saying the worst trade in NFL history. And, there's still time. To me, there's still time for him to get it right. It wasn't because he played terrible that they sat him on the bench the last couple months of the year. It was because of injury. Every quarterback goes through injury. Are they saying the Aaron Rodgers trade was one of the worst in history because he only played 4 plays? No, because injuries happen, and he was hurt for most of last year. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm looked at because I'm one of the few that still believes in him. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, which is fine. But I think you believe in him too. But we're far outweighed, and at least maybe the vocal minority just wants to call in and tell us how terrible he is, and he's never going to do anything.
It's not a belief. It's not that, because you still see glimpses of what he can actually do, but they're glimpses, Bri. I've seen glimpses of Johnny Manziel. I've seen glimpses of Baker Mayfield. I've seen glimpses of Derek Anderson. I've seen glimpses of Kelly Holcomb. I've seen glimpses of all this, Bri. Like, I've seen glimpses. I don't need to see glimpses anymore. They went out and actually got rid of a first overall pick, a first round pick that they drafted to bring you in. And in the 12 games that you have been in, I don't care what his record is, Bri, because guess what? At that point in time, who cares what the record is? It's up to you, because the whole team.
I care. I care.
Okay, you care. Okay, you care. So
nobody else cares about. Am I the only one who cares about wins?
Hold on. So Joe Flacco went 5-1.
4-1.
4-1. So Joe Flacco went 4-1. Was he the greatest thing that we've ever seen?
No, I'm not saying Deshaun Watson is the greatest thing we've ever seen, but I'm saying he's good enough. If Joe Flacco was 28 years old, I would say, okay, let's have a conversation about bringing Joe Flacco back and making him our starter. But all those people you mentioned, you gave those guys, people wanted to see them more than 12 games. After Baker Mayfield's first 12 games, you weren't like, no, get this guy out of here. He's just no good. And so that's where I'm at. I know we have to. We don't have a choice. We have to. So I'm going to choose to be optimistic until, I'm going to ride this ship to the end, because if I'm just sitting here miserable thinking there's no chance we can win anything, it's going to be a terrible, terrible time to be a Browns fan.
Right. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
I'm not saying you are. No, I'm
just saying that this is a make or break year for Deshaun Watson. It truly is.
I said it was last year. And then he got hurt.
Then he got hurt. He got hurt. So
and then we're it's like that? Yeah, we're still stuck with him. It's unfortunate. And football's a cruel game. Some guys never get the opportunity to show what they truly can be, and there's a chance that's Deshaun Watson. How many guys have had their careers, cut very short because of injury. Cam Newton comes to mind. He should still be in his prime, and that's why guys like Lamar Jackson, in my mind, he has a couple years to win before his physical abilities, just getting beat up as much as he does, really takes its toll. So, yeah, I don't know. And we'll get to the running backs too. It seems like Browns fans are just such doomsday thinkers anymore. I hear it with Nick Chubb still too. Well, he's never going to play again. I don't think he may never take another snap for the Cleveland Browns. Why do you choose to be pessimistic? You know nothing. The fans know absolutely nothing. The fans don't know if Deshaun Watson's going to come back and be anything. The fans don't know if Nick Chubb's going to come back and be what he used to be, but they're choosing to be pessimistic. This quarterback is going to be terrible forever. This running back will never play again for the, why are you if you choose that, then that's maybe your outlook on life. I'm going to choose to be optimistic because I don't know any better right now.
Okay. Now, Bri, I am glad you're that person, but I'm going to do this because we're going to talk Easter food here in just a second after we get through all this. But this is like the jelly bean conversation, Brian. Okay. The Browns have given you this magical jelly bean, right? And you look at it and it's an orange jelly bean and you're like, man, I want to bite into that orange jelly bean. But it's a vomit jelly bean. And that's what we've been getting.
We haven't bitten into anything yet, though. The season hasn't even started.
This is even long before this, Bri. It was, oh yeah, we're going to do good. We brought in Tyrod Taylor and RG3. Derek Anderson is going to be great. Kellen Winslow is not going to be Kellen Winslow. And, we got, one of the best wide receivers ever who is just can't not get together. And Terrell Pryor's a wide receiver. And here's the jelly bean. Eat the jelly bean. And it is puke. It is vomit. It is poop. It is baby diapers. It is, you've played with those jelly beans. You know what I'm talking about. But like, that's what they've been giving us. Like everybody has been hopeful for so many years that this is going to be the team to change everything. This is going to be the coach to do it. This is going to be the quarterback to do it. And every time we get plated a plate of shit right in front of us. And now that we don't have shit and it's like decent meal that we're getting in front of us, people don't want to believe it right now, Brian, because we've been fed shit for so long.
I understand where you're thinking, and that's how a lot of people do think. But as me, who's watched the Browns for many, many years, this is the most talented team I've ever seen. I'm not talking about 2015. I'm not talking about 2010, 20. This team is better than any other team I've seen, maybe going back to the 90s and the 80s. I don't remember those. So that's why I'm optimistic. I'm not saying, this is Myles Garrett on this team where we had rookie Baker Mayfield or we had Johnny Manziel. We have guys at every position that have proven their worth and proven to be good in the NFL. So why wouldn't I believe that they can be good again? And because they're better than every other team. Our coach is better than every other coach we've ever had. Going back to Belichick or something. So that's why I'm optimistic in, especially for the off season. It's just they're not playing any games from now till September. So you can either choose to be pessimistic or you can choose to be optimistic. I have reasons to be optimistic. I'm not just going to go to, I'm not going to turn into Eeyore here and be like, oh, the Browns have always been terrible. They're always letting me down. They're going to let me down. No, Nick Chubb is better than any other running back we've ever had. Deshaun Watson, I understand. He hasn't played to where I want him to play over the last few years, but I still believe he's better than any other quarterback we ever had. And so until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to continue to believe that.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's get into the running backs. We'll shelf this argument for later.
Well, it'll go on.
It's not an argument, Brian, but I get what you're saying, but I can also understand why people are that way about the Browns because it's been like did you honestly think? And you and I were together when this happened when we had the 0-16 and 1-15 seasons. Like, did you honestly think that team was going to do anything?
No. That's why my outlook is different now than it was then. This team is better than DeShone Kizer and Brock Osweiler, RG3 at the end of his career, Josh McCown. That's why everyone is just frustrating the hell out of me because they think, well, like you're just saying, well, they've put us through this, they've put us through that. I have no reason to believe. No, I'm taking this team as its own entity. I'm not comparing this team and say, well, you have all this stink from all these years on you, so you can't help but just be like those other teams. No, I'm taking this team as one compared to, one team from this year, one team from that. Every year is a different team. And that's how I'm judging it. I'm not judging it based on all these years of losing.
God, I got to be around you more often. I got to drink with you more often, Brian. I really do.
I'm trying to keep people positive here, but everyone just brings me down day after day. And like I said, I know it's the vocal. No, and I'm not saying it's you, but the vocal minority just like I can't listen to 92.3 The Fan anymore because the fans, the only people that call in are people that want to be doom and gloom and say, this is terrible. This is never going to work. Walk the plank for the next 2 years. Walk the plank, and eventually you're just going to die. And it's like, no, I'm not going to think that way. I'm not going to let you drag me down.
All right, let's get into our running back room, Bri. Okay.
Yep, we'll be quick.
So we got Nick Chubb. We'll go quick now. We got to go rapid fire because, yeah, we're doing great on time. Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, Freeman, Hines, Pierre Strong, and John Kelly. How do you grade them this year?
I got him a B+ because I still believe in Nick Chubb. Now, if I knew Nick Chubb was going to be 100% Nick Chubb, they would be an A. But, I do leave the door open a little bit in case he's not 100% or not like we've known him to be. So I knock him down a little bit, but I'm still confident. I think they have a lot of variations. They have guys that can catch the ball in the backfield. They got speed guys. They got power guys. They got a lot of guys that can do different things. So I think finally I feel comfortable with the versatility of this room.
All right, I'm going to split my grade on this because with Nick Chubb, I give them an A. Without Nick Chubb, I give them a C+. And that's just because I need to see Jerome Ford more. I need to see Nyheim Hines, and I need to see Deontay Freeman be better. I got to see him on the field first. I know Jerome Ford had his struggles last year with getting split carries with Kareem Hunt, but like with Nick Chubb, Bri, this is where I am very optimistic. Nick Chubb is a different animal, okay? And until the day that he cannot play football anymore, I still think he is going to be elite Nick Chubb. There is no doubt in my mind that he is going to be elite Nick Chubb because of the way he works and the way he conquers everything and the way he did it the last time. I understand it's been the same knee. It's been 2 surgeries, everything else. It's Nick Chubb. All that man does is work. He doesn't talk. He doesn't do anything else. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't do any of this. He just works, Bri. And for him to be injured that way and want to come back and prove that he's one of the top backs, that is why I give that an A, Bri, because I think he's going to be elite next year when he does come back.
Nice. Yeah. I'm all for it.
All right, wide receiver room. We got Cooper, Moore, Tillman, Prochet. I think with Cooper and Judy as our top 2 targets, I'm going to give this group an A-. Okay. Cooper has been proven right now to be one of the best wide receivers the Cleveland Browns have ever had. And you can't tell me any different. I know we've had some great wide receivers, Bri, but this man coming in the way he did and taking a team with backup quarterbacks, still getting over 1,000 yards. Now, I know 1,000 yards isn't what it used to be, and I think the addition to Judy to be able to take the top off, I know we're going to have some. I think Judy is going to be like a scramble, almost like rolling the dice with him week to week. But I think he's going to have big games, and I think he's going to have bad games. But I think with those two doing it, I'm going to give this whole wide receiver room, I'm going to give them a B+. It's probably one of the best wide receiver rooms talent-wise, Bri. Best receiver room talent-wise that I think we've ever had in Cleveland.
This is probably going to be the position where we differ the most. I believe in Amari Cooper, and I don't think he's, in my mind, he's not quite a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL, but he's somewhere between 10 and 20. I think maybe his age and his lack of speed cost him a little bit there. So I believe in Amari Cooper. He's a solid number 1. After that, I think you have a ton of potential at a bunch of different places and not a whole lot of production. And so it's time for these guys to step up. Other than Amari Cooper, every other wide receiver Andrew Berry has acquired has fallen short. So, I just got over saying I'm not looking at past. I'm just judging it based on one season. But these other guys, these other wide receivers, I have not seen be successful in the NFL outside of a 1 or a 2 game span. I haven't seen it over an entire season. So I think your depth there, Amari Cooper, I'm good with. I'm happy with. Everyone else, I think they're just kind of fighting to hopefully be an average wide receiver too.
Okay. So what grade did you give him?
C plus.
C plus. Okay. Let's go on to tight ends. We got David Njoku, Jordan Akins, the new guy, Giovanni Ricci, and then a Zaire Mitchell-Padden, who is on one of the lower ones. I think this is going to be probably one of the draft picks that we're going to see in our draft this year, late round. I think they are going to get a tight end to kind of help out. But, Bri, I give this with the way that David Njoku played last year, knowing that he can block and run, I got to give it a B- for right now because I don't know what's behind David Njoku.
Yeah, I'm in the ballpark. I gave him a B. Primarily, what brought me up from like a C plus to B- to B would be just how Njoku kind of broke out at the end of last year, and hopefully Stefanski, finally understands how to use him because the play call that they had towards the end of the year, he was getting wide open in the middle of the field, and he was catching these 5-yard dump offs, and you just get him the ball in space, 7-yard dump offs. And I know you don't like the tight end screen, but and they maybe got away from that a little bit and just get him the ball in space a little more because you look at all of his electric plays that he had at the end of last year. He was just catching them, in space and then taking off. What was that Jets game? It was like 3rd and 17 or something, and we just threw it short to him, and he just made a play with the ball in his hand, and so I think that's where he's the most dangerous. So he definitely brought the grade up. After that, we don't have a whole lot. Jordan Akins is a veteran and is a guy who has experience with Deshaun, but other than that, I don't even know. He's getting up there in age as well, so I don't know how much you can count on him. And he's not too explosive, but he's a halfway decent blocker. So I'm comfortable with the room, but I don't think they're anything too special.
All right. Last but not least, we have our offensive line, Bri. And now I got 2 grades for this offensive line, Bri, because they have not been together healthy ever. Ever, 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 ever been together healthy. Conklin's been injured and injury prone the past 2 years since we signed him to the big contract. Jed Wills was injured last year. We've been to our 3rd, 4th, 5th tackle. All right. I think they found a gem in Posich. And of course, the interior of our offensive line, let's put it this way. The interior, the guards in the center, I'm giving a solid A right there. Tackles, right tackle, C plus, depending on who's in. Left tackle, that's a different story, Bri. But as a whole, this group should be a great group if they can stay healthy. If they can stay healthy, Bri, they are definitely an A- offensive line. If they cannot stay healthy, depending on who goes out, this line could go down to a C. That's how big of a swing it is.
Yeah, I'm similar to you. I think at one point this was the strength of our team, and I think that was a couple years ago. We've talked in the past. We'll talk again in the future, I'm sure, about how big the loss of Bill Callahan is. So yeah, in years past, even going into last year, I might have said an A. But I thought I'd knock him down a peg or two, and I got him at a B-. Assuming everyone's healthy. I think the middle of the line is solid and maybe one of the best in the NFL. The tackles, I was always a huge fan of Jack Conklin, but and the last time he had a full season in health and played most of the games, he was an All-Pro, meaning he was the best right tackle in the league. But to really think that he can get back to that, he was right here in Cleveland.
Was his very first year here, wasn't it?
Maybe. Has he been here? Has he played 3 seasons for the Browns now? He's been injured the last 2. But yeah, so maybe it was his first season here. So yeah, and that was that was when the offensive line was humming, and this offensive line was just open up these giant holes and not giving up a whole lot of pressure, and for DeJuan Jones to step in and do what he did last year was just something special, especially as a fourth rounder. So I feel he makes me feel a little bit better about our tackle position. I wish they would just play the two best tackles, because in my mind, I think that's probably DeJuan Jones and Jack Conklin, and say forget feelings and forget where you were drafted. Let's just play the two best guys. And Jed Wills, if Jed Wills is your backup tackle, swing tackle, he can play both sides. I feel really good about but I don't know enough about at that level how easy it is to switch from one side to the other. Like, is DeJuan Jones going to have just as much success at left tackle as he did at right tackle? If that's the case, you make the move. But I just don't know if that's really accurate. So, yeah, I'm good with the interior. The guys outside give me some pause, but I think they still have potential. DeJuan Jones and Wills even is still pretty young, and then if Conklin can just stay healthy, this might be a different unit. We might be saying by midseason that they're an A again. So
yeah,
I'll be optimistic there again.
Yeah, Conklin, since he's been here, like his first 4 seasons in Tennessee, he was healthy for all 3 years. Well, 3 out of the 4 years. 1 year he only played 9 games. Since he's been here in Cleveland, his first year he played 15 games, second year 7, third year 14 games, and then last year 1. So it hasn't been the same person, and it sucks because, like you said, he can be an all-pro tackle. It's just got to get the health, man, and it's just hard as offensive linemen because they just take a beating. Take a beating, Brian.
It's just, it was hard to watch him go out in the second quarter of the very first game last year, and just having somebody roll up on you like that. It's just kind of a fluke thing, but your heart breaks for anybody who works as hard as he did to get back from an injury and then go out in the first game.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of our offensive grades so far. Next week, we will do defensive grades. We will talk about the new NFL rules, changes that have happened with the kickoff and the hip tackle rule, or the hip drop tackle rule, or whatever the hell it is. We'll get into that. Brian, let's get into Fat Boy Tuesday and our top 3 all wrapped into one.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking Easter, Brian. All right. And Easter is a special time for everybody getting families together. The Lord has risen. That's how we do it. But man, Easter has got some great food too, Bri. And between the candy and the Easter bunny, between the ham and the cheesy potatoes and the green beans and everything else, Easter is all about family on Sunday right after church, having a big Easter dinner and just enjoying life with your family. So, Bri, what are some things you look forward to for Easter with your family? Do you like to go Easter egg hunting? Do you do little Cadbury eggs?
Oh, we do. We usually do a few celebrations. We got my family, my mom's side of the family. We get together on Saturday, do a celebration there, and then we go down to my wife's side of the family and do a celebration on Sunday. And yeah, it's like with any holiday, it's just a lot of eating. And they do on Saturday for the small kids, they do an Easter egg hunt, and going in the backyard trying to find the eggs and everything. And it's just I had a hard time thinking about a food that like stands out to me is we only have this on Easter, because Easter, Christmas, even Thanksgiving, kind of a lot of the stuff is the same. So yeah, I'll save my favorites for the top 3. But I think my aunt makes like a pineapple casserole type thing with Ritz crackers on it. That's pretty good. I'm trying to think of what my wife makes really good. And believe me when I tell you, I'm not lying here. It's like a vegetable casserole with like a bunch of cheese and stuff. So big fan of that over the last couple years. And then the staples, everything else. there's only so much room on the plate.
A vegetable dish, Mr.
Yeah,
Loveless?
I'm telling you. Yeah. Yep.
Mhm.
I don't know what
All
it
right.
is. Don't get me wrong. It's loaded down with cheese. So that's what makes it palatable. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you I'm the most healthy guy on holidays.
Cheese and bacon and ranch and
I wouldn't be opposed to it. Yeah, you think
Nope.
if somebody else, hey, you want some bacon for that vegetable casserole? Of course I do.
yes, I do. It goes.
Yeah.
Bacon goes with everything, Bri. There hasn't been one thing I have found that hasn't gone with bacon.
Right. Well, now it's chocolate covered bacon. I mean, it's taking over the sweets too. Maple bacon.
Maple
Ugh.
bacon, canned brown sugar bacon. I do got to try that BLT from Arby's. Now that we're talking about bacon,
I know.
I got to try that thing.
I think they had it a couple years ago. What I did, and not to get too far off subject, I went and bought it, and I was cooking burgers or something, so I just
You
used
put
like the
bacon
bun.
on the burger?
Yeah, I used the bun and the bacon as my sandwich, and then I just slid a cheeseburger in there and a bacon cheeseburger. Like, oh, so good. I need to do it. Well, I'll be able to eat fast food here by the end of the weekend. So maybe I'll try it again if they still have it.
You gave up fast food for Lent, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
You
I
are
haven't
a
had it
trooper.
I had Chipotle maybe once or twice, but
That's like fast
I haven't had
casual.
anything.
That's not what I consider fast food.
Right. That's what
For
I
me,
told
my
myself.
family, we always we used to do Easter really big. Always the hard-boiled eggs, painting eggs with the kids. You'll get to that point, Bri. Whether it be stickers or painting them, just 3 dozen hard-boiled eggs, and there you are, just as a family coloring them. Also, that was also a huge thing is being in the kitchen too, especially with the ham. You gotta have the right ham. And Brian, you and I were talking about ham before. You got the spiral, the double smoke spiral with the honey, brown sugar, honey glaze, and everything else. And you brought it up that your uncle, the best ham you had, your uncle said he bought it from Aldi's. Bri,
Yep.
I am not joking you 100%. My sister got that exact same ham. I swear to God. It was, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about the Aldi's ham, especially if you get the spiral ham. It's fantastic. It is truly fantastic. But I like to kick it old school with my ham, Bri, because I like to do mine my own way. I make my own brine to go around it, and I also make my own. Pretty much, it's honey, it's brown sugar, glaze to go over top of it, and just crisp it up, and then you have a little sriracha dip with it too. So I kind of do it that way. But yeah, ham is a big thing for me. Green beans, your favorite thing in the world, cheesy potatoes with the cornflakes. Oh God, can't go wrong with cheesy potatoes. And just enjoying time with family. I think that's the one big thing. We just kick back, relax, watch either a golf match on Sunday or whatever's on. Most of the time it's March Madness. And just kind of enjoy the day and spending time with family. And of course the kids with the candy, which we'll switch over here to our top 3 right now after our Easter talk. Right. My top 3, it's got to include some kind of candy for Easter because you always got to have candy for Easter. So my number 3 is the Cadbury egg. Right. You only get it one time. It's always for Easter and it's always delicious. My number 2, the little Reese Pieces, the Reese egg. Can't go wrong with that little golden nugget. It's just, I know it's a Reese peanut butter cup in the shape of an egg. I don't care. Still love it. Still love it to this day. Honorable mention now before I get to my number 1. Do you remember the robin eggs?
Oh, sure. Yeah, they're like what are they? Milk duds, kind of.
Yeah, they're like Whoppers.
That's what it is.
With the robin eggs is there. Jelly beans is also there on the honorable mention.
Oh yeah.
But Brian, my number 1, the one thing I'm looking forward to the most on Easter is the ham. We are legal ham to the face. It's the ham. You got to have a good ham for Easter. Don't get a cheap ham. Don't get a crappy ham. You got to get the good ham for Easter. So that's my number 1 for our top 3. Brian, what about your top 3?
Hey, I'll pick up right where you left off. Yeah, my ham. And I don't love it all the time. So I've definitely had some ham that was just kind of, I wouldn't say bad, but I would say very forgetful, like average run of the mill ham. And it's like, oh, whatever. I'll put some ham on my plate just to appease everyone else because that's what you do. But yeah, if you can do it right, I don't know what it was. I told you. My uncle said he got it from Aldi's. I'm still thinking about that one ham. I don't know if it was an Aldi's thing or maybe just a good batch or he cooked it just right. But man, I guess that was the second best ham I've ever had. The best ham I've ever had was down in Nashville, Tennessee at the Loveless Cafe. I almost didn't even order it because I don't really like ham, but it came with one of the meals. So I'm like, I'll try it. It was almost like a jerky or something like that. It was just, melt in your mouth. I mean, it was like soft jerky. So it was, if you can cook ham right, it would probably be my number one. So that's my number three. Number two, I had a hard time deciding between candies. And so, like you said, jelly beans you get once a year. Also, I just think of the giant solid chocolate Easter bunny.
Oh
and
yeah,
I don't
the
know,
milk chocolate one.
Right, something about it. Just it tastes better than like a regular run of the mill Hershey's bar. So yeah, I'm in between. I can't decide. Make up your mind, whatever you like. And then my number one, you know what it's going to be. It's going to be cheesy potatoes. And really, I mean, it's not. We might have it at Christmas time. We don't really do it at Thanksgiving. But whenever I think of cheesy potatoes, I think of it at Easter and having it
goes
with
with ham.
So, yep. So that's definitely number one. Probably will ever be.
Every time I've had a ham, I've either had some sort of cheesy potato, whether it be scallop potatoes, au gratin potatoes. Like there's always been a cheesy potato with a ham, no matter what I have done.
Yep.
Now, next week, Brian, I told you next week, I have a food. My 10-year-old floored me today on the way home. And I wanted to bring this up for next week, Brian, because he's sitting there. He goes, Dad, he goes, so since tomatoes are fruit and not vegetables, I'm like, yeah. He goes, does that make ketchup a jelly? And I looked at him. I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, and then I started thinking about it, and he made me think about it, Brian. And I'm like, damn, that's pretty good, son. I'm not going to lie. That's pretty damn good. So next week, we're going to talk about, certain things that can be transferred over to let's say dessert, or like bacon ice cream is a great ice cream. So just things that could transfer over to a dessert that you wouldn't think would be a dessert. What do you think about that, big fella?
All right. Yep. Start him young. I like he's taking after his father, starting to question some of the food.
Like he seriously did. Like we were in the car ride today on the way home when he nailed me with that zinger. And I'm like, and I started thinking about it for a second. I'm like, no, because he's like, but Dad, I'm like, he's not wrong. It is a fruit. And most jellies are fruit. So we're going to talk about this some more next week, Brian.
Sure.
All right, let's finish off the trivia. You asked me the two teams since 1995.
97. So 97, Arizona won it. So since then.
So I can't say Arizona?
Arizona won it in 97. If you think they've won it since 97, you could absolutely say Arizona. So I'm looking for the two schools west of the Mississippi River that have won the NCAA championship in the last 25 years.
Gonzaga, right?
Not Gonzaga.
Oh,
nope, they've never won it. I don't think they've ever won it. They made it to the final one year.
Has it been UCLA?
Not UCLA.
Whew.
One of them you should get. One of them you should get.
Yeah, you would think that, Brian, but
you sounded pretty confident when I gave it to you.
Well, I thought Arizona, because didn't Arizona win it back-to-back 97, 98?
You can say Arizona if you want.
I'll say Arizona.
Not Arizona.
Okay, well, you suck. Wow, I'm really drawing a blank here, bud.
One of them's a blue blood.
UCLA. Kentucky, no. Louisville, no. What are blue bloods west of Mississippi?
Middle of the country. Oh,
Kansas.
people are screaming at you right now. There you go. Kansas Jayhawks is one. There
I'm
you go.
sorry.
Kansas is one.
Took me a second to get Kansas.
And the other one, to give you a small hint, is happened pretty recently. I think in the last 5 years.
Yeah, that doesn't help me at all. Shit. Go ahead and give it
Not
to me,
on
buddy.
the West Coast. Not on the West Coast. In Texas. They reside in Texas.
Baylor?
There you go. Baylor. Yep.
Wow.
Baylor and Kansas, the two.
Wow.
I don't know if Kansas maybe has won it twice, but I'm not sure. But Baylor only won it once.
I was thinking for sure like the 90s Arizona teams. And then I thought maybe Gonzaga here in the last few years. Man, really? Baylor?
Isn't that wild?
Right.
Isn't that wild? Two teams the last 25 years.
And it's barely
no UCLA, no
USC.
Oh, I know, right? They're not even like close to the West Coast now. They're not Pac-12.
They're not even in the West Coast time zone.
Yeah, pretty close. It's wild.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us and joining in here on Illegal Ham to the Face. Please go like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, everybody. Give us a like. Catch us on all of our social medias at Ham Illegal. Bri, at the end of our show, we always say it. God bless them, Bri.
God bless you. God bless America. Happy Easter to everybody.
All right. Happy Easter, everybody. We want to thank our troops and first responders for everything you guys do for us. We cannot do enough for you guys. So thank you so much for everything you do for us. And on that note, we are definitely uncorked, unloaded. We're out. See you guys.